Hi everyone, welcome to Loft 801. My name is Diego, and this video is a review of Morbius. This Sony anti-hero film was directed by Daniel Espinosa and was released on April 1st, 2022. Before I hop into my review, if you want to support the channel, please take a second to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. It's really appreciated. This review will contain spoilers, so please continue at your own risk or click out of this video. If you're still here, thanks for staying. Lastly, if there's something you want to see reviewed, let us know and we'll get to it. Thank you. We're hopping in 3, 2, 1. The film starts with a sick Dr. Michael Morbius flying in a helicopter to the mouth of a cave. Without a care in the world, he cuts his hand, which drives swarms of vampire bats to engulf him and frighten his team. To be completely honest, this scene didn't seem very necessary, but I guess it helps set the tone for Michael's character. We're then treated to a scene taking place earlier in Michael's life. We can see that he grew up in an orphanage along with other sickly children, namely Lucian, aka Milo. Morbius is sent to medical school in New York, but ultimately he and Milo are adopted by the hospital director, Nicholas. Back in the present, Morbius is awarded a Nobel Prize for creating synthetic blood, but he publicly denies it because he views it as a failure to cure his illness. Using some bats he captured earlier, he splices their genes with his own to try and create a cure. His experiment is illegal, so he and his assistant slash partner slash lover Bancroft take a mercenary ship into international waters. He then injects himself with his cure and is transformed into a vampire, knocking Bancroft out, killing the mercenaries, and draining their blood. Once his bloodlust ends, he's horrified by what he's done, so he scrubs the camera footage, calls the police, and jumps overboard. Back in New York, Morbius discovers he has echolocation in addition to his super strength and speed. The bats he keeps are also friendly with him. Unfortunately, he continues to crave blood, but he drinks synthetic blood instead. Lucian discovers Morbius is cured and gets very angry and upset when Morbius refuses to give him the cure. He leaves feeling betrayed, and a little while later, while he's checking on Bancroft, Morbius finds a dead nurse drained of her blood. In the meantime, FBI agents Stroud and Rodriguez have investigated the mercenary ship and believe Morbius is involved. They find him at the hospital and attempt to question him, but he runs away to avoid being arrested. Despite this, he's caught and put in prison. Milo visits Morbius in prison and offers to bail him out. He also leaves a blood bag and his walking cane, letting Morbius know that he's taken the cure. Morbius drinks the blood and breaks out of prison to confront Milo, who encourages him to fully embrace his powers. Morbius doesn't want to hurt Milo, so he runs away. Morbius meets with Bancroft again and explains what Milo has done, so they create an anticoagulant, aka vampire death serum. Morbius plans on using it on Milo and then himself. Agents Stroud and Rodriguez find footage of Milo attacking citizens and release the footage to the media. Nicholas sees the footage and asks Milo to stop. Milo gets angry and injures him, forcing him to call Morbius. Morbius arrives in time to see Nicholas die and Milo attacking Bancroft. Again, Morbius is late and Bancroft dies in his arms, so he drinks her blood. Morbius and Milo then have an intensely short battle before Morbius summons an army of bats to restrain Milo. He injects the anticoagulant into Milo and then flees with the bats in a bit of an anticlimactic moment. As the film ends, we frustratingly see Bancroft being revived as a vampire. She ingested a drop of Morbius's blood earlier, so her sacrifice was meaningless. Lastly, in some outrageous mid and end credit scenes, we see Adrian Toomes, the Vulture, being transported to the Morbius universe. He approaches Morbius and suggests they form a team, but his inclusion in the film contradicts what the MCU has established and permanently harms this film's reputation. Personally, I enjoyed the moody themes and tones of this film. Many people may not and did not like it, but I thought it was a generally solid anti-hero story. It felt very much like Jekyll and Hyde. Morbius wanted to cure himself so badly, he tried a method some would deem unethical. This resulted in unforeseen consequences. Morbius turning into a monster. The film was largely serious, and I believe this worked to its benefit, but sometimes it felt like it was taking itself a little too seriously, and at other times it felt like it wasn't taking itself serious at all. Normally changing tones like this works well, but in this film it felt subpar at best. I enjoyed the character portrayals from the actors and actresses. Despite the large criticisms Jared Leto has received, I believe he did a good job of playing a sick man obsessed with finding a cure. I don't think it was his best acting, but it got the job done. On the other hand, Matt Smith did an absolutely fantastic job playing an egomaniac who finally gets his turn in the spotlight. Having been beaten down by illness and others his whole life, he finally gets some well-deserved payback. The acting by Adria Arjona and Jared Harris was good, but not great. Their characters felt a bit underused. I thoroughly enjoyed the acting by Tyrese Gibson and Al Madrigal. Unfortunately, they were also severely underused. Michael Keaton was also in this film, but I didn't really enjoy his acting or appearance in the film. To be fair, this could be attributed to the bad writing. For the most part, I felt like the pace of the film was good. It was a short film and this benefited it greatly. While not directly related to the film, this movie got rid of every reference it had to Spider-Man. In the trailers for the film, we could see Spider-Man references, but every reference except for the end credits was removed for its theatrical release. I think this helped the film stand on its own and have room to breathe. Unfortunately, as stated, the film ends by tying back into the Spider-Man universe with its horribly done end credits. All the amazing work the movie did by removing Spider-Man is tarnished. As the film gets closer to wrapping up, the direction and pace gets sloppy. The film rushed the climax fight between Morbius Morbius and Milo. Additionally, the film brings back Bancroft, who should have stayed dead. Some other nitpicks are that the FBI agents Stroud and Rodriguez aren't used as much as they should be, and it felt like some of their scenes were cut from this movie. On a positive note, I did enjoy the score and soundtrack of the film. Even though I thought it was good, nothing really stood out. I also thought the dialogue was good, but not great. The best lines were delivered by Milo, but unfortunately, nothing stood out. I thought the cinematography and special effects were good for most of the movie. I really enjoyed the CGI smoke effects when Morbius and Milo moved around as vampires. Unfortunately, the CGI in the end credits was bad. It was obviously rushed, and this made the end credit scenes even worse. There wasn't anything significant in the production design of the film, but there also wasn't anything bad. Overall, I found this film to be enjoyable, but severely flawed. If the film didn't have the end credit scenes and the climax hadn't been rushed, it would have been a great movie. However, as mentioned earlier, the inclusion of the end credits and forced inclusion of Morbius into the Spider-Man universe really bogs the film down. However, if you can look past this, you'll find a film that's good enough to be enjoyed. I gave this movie a 6.9 out of 10. In other words, if you're looking to be entertained, you will be entertained, but if you're looking for a film to crap on, you'll find a lot to crap on. I'm optimistic and enjoy a lot of movies, so if you're like me, give it a shot. Thank you for listening to my review of Morbius. If you enjoyed the content, leave a like and hit subscribe. If you agree or disagree with me, let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what you have to say. If there's something you want reviewed, leave a comment and we'll get to it. Lastly, if you want to see some more from me, you can check out my vlogs linked up above or my podcast, Friends with Benefits. My name is Diego, and I'll see you next time.